Welcome to Coast Vue, where we celebrate every single day the people who are making this such a wonderful place to work, to live, work, and play. And we're going to be talking to one of our One Coast winners here shortly. But I want to share something with you, something that someone posted on Facebook. I think I've shared this before, but it's good to reflect about it. I think sometimes on social media we can be incredibly unforgiving. I'm really looking forward to Twitter being owned by Elon Musk, because it's going to give us a chance to look underneath the covers of that and see just how much they limit conversation. You can't scream fire in a movie theater. That's not free speech. So trust me, there'll still be some limitations to what people can do and share. But it's going to be a good to see, behind the kimono, so to speak. By the way, we'll have Ashley Edwards on the second half of the show. We'll get the latest from the Business Council, and we'll also reflect a little bit on the Twitter situation as well. But here's something that someone posted. I think it's a good one for all of us to hear and be reminded of. Everyone makes mistakes in life, but that doesn't mean they have to pay for them for the rest of their life. Sometimes good people make bad choices. It doesn't mean they are bad. It means they are human. I think sometimes we have to remember that we're all human. Hey, let's go over to my buddy, my partner in crime, Kyle Curley, for just a second, and say, first of all, good morning. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. You've been busy. What you been up to?
18-hour days, it seems like. Vacation. So I wake up in the morning now doing news fill-ins and morning traffic, and then finish up work as much as I can, and then rush out and baseball at night.
Baseball at night. Yeah, the Shuckers. You're not only do you do the music in the Superdome during the Saints games, but you also heavily involved in the Shuckers.
Yeah, public address announcer for the Shuckers. I guess I started that the last half of the inaugural season, and then it was kind of rough this past week. On Wednesday, because another fella couldn't make it to work because of his work commitments, I was doing music and PA, so it was an interesting game.
Well, you're talented, and you're able to do it. Hey, look, man, looking back on last week, I tell you what, I really enjoyed all the conversations, but Oliver Diaz coming to us from Bali, and that incredible conversation of him and his wife, Jennifer, and their travels around the world. What an inspiring conversation that was.
It was, and some of the pictures, especially the one in the desert, just kind of blew me away. And then from the technical geek side of me, I was really fascinated the fact that he has better internet connection from Bali, Indonesia, than someone in Pass Christian.
That's so true. That is so true. Anyway, man, I just wanted to touch base with you. Thanks for all you do to support me, my friend.
You bet. No problem.
Okay, so now, like I said, man, we're going to talk to, if they're willing to come on my show, we're going to talk to all 20 One Coast winners from this year. And as I said, it's a great opportunity for them to get the recognition for their work in the community. They're all so committed. But it's also a chance to hold them up as an example for others, to inspire others with the sense of mission that each of them have and the contributions that each of them have. And today we're gonna talk with my friend Pam Moeller, who works for the University of Southern Mississippi. We'll get into some of the details of what she's up to, but before we get any further, I just want to say good morning to you, Pam. How are you?
Good morning, Ricky. Thank you so much for having me on here today.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. I'm so honored, humbled to be recognized against all these nominations. It really was a surprise to me, but it's very nice to be recognized among your peers, to be a leader, and I encourage everybody to get involved in the community and, just be involved completely.
Yeah, so if we get a chance, we'll talk a little bit about the work that University of Southern Mississippi is doing here on the coast. Obviously, the university continues to be incredibly strategically focused, trying to make sure that they are connecting to economic opportunities, to where the needs might be in terms of developing young people, and in some cases, not so young people who decide to go back to school and so on. But so there's a lot there. Blue economy. Obviously, Gulf Coast, University of Southern Mississippi Gulf Coast has always had a tremendous role, not just here along coast of Mississippi, but in the state. So you're the director of external relations there. Tell me just a little bit about what you do, but then we're going to take a step back and talk a little bit more about your journey.
Okay. So yes, I'm the director of external relations for our coastal operations, which actually some people know, and not a lot of people know, that the coastal operations expands through 3 coastal counties. So we don't have a favorite child. We're in Jackson County, Harrison County, and in Hancock County. And so my main role is community outreach, business development, anything external, getting out in the community, letting the community aware of what the university is doing, making awareness to the strides that we're doing in the not just the blue economy, but with education and in everything. So I am kind of like the networker that connects people to other people. So I probably have the best job in the university because, like I said earlier, I don't have to be in an office 8 to 5 every day. I work 24/7, but I get to do fun things and meet new people. And you'd be amazed at even just going to 1 or 2 events, the people that you meet and connecting them to the university and to our students and everything. So I do a lot of government relations. So during March through April, I'm in Jackson dealing with our coastal delegation in Jackson. And I can tell you that our coastal delegation is strong in Jackson, and I'm so lucky to have them answer my calls and help the university out. So they do care.
So you went to Mississippi State and you went to University of Southern Mississippi to get a master's degree. You were involved in Leadership Gulf Coast. You were also involved in Leadership Mississippi and then Leadership Jackson County. You know, as I read through, you're well recognized as a top influencer. You've received a bunch of awards, but at the end of the day, when you look at what you've been involved in, that's why. I mean, you've been willing, as I challenged the group at the beginning, quoting John Hairston, you've always been willing to do your reps. But the leadership programs that you have gone through have given you tremendous ability to understand how this complicated region that we call coastal Mississippi, how all the wires are attached. It's a complicated place, really. The more you dive in, the more you realize that it's a multi-layered. I mean, there's a lot of benefit to that, but there's a lot of challenges to that as well. And you've been able to see that firsthand, haven't you?
I have. Like you said, I've been in leadership Jackson County. I learned that was the first leadership class I went through early on in my career, and it kind of inspired me to do more. I knew a lot of people in Jackson County. I started in work in Jackson County when I moved to the coast, and that kind of spearheaded my community involvement. And then Leadership Gulf Coast, working with the university in all 3 counties, that kind of put me in touch with different people and, getting interns and everything with the university. And then moving on to Leadership Mississippi, wow, you get to go the whole Mississippi and you meet everybody. And every year the Leadership Mississippi comes to the Gulf Coast. And I try to work with Scott Waller and Kathy Northington with the economic development, just make sure that I'm included so we can show off all the things that we have on the Gulf Coast. I tell them, I was like, if you could ever get here, if we could get people just to come and visit one time, they're never going to want to leave.
Well, listen, I've often said, and I mean, no one disputes this reality, but it's important always to put it on the table that coastal Mississippi is the economic engine that drives this state. When you think about the bookends, Stennis on one end and Ingalls on the other, and of course Chevron, the hospitality in between. Man, is this region important to the state? It's not just important to us; it's important to the state. And that's why it's exciting what USM is doing these days as we really begin to zero in on the blue economy and what that means. The opportunities are enormous here, but it's going to take tremendous leadership. And when you think about dedicated leadership, people who are willing to get into the trenches, what do you think about? What's your view of community leadership?
Well, the university over the past couple of 5 to 6 years, I've been with the university for 14 years now, has really kind of taken a step back and looked at how can we invest in the coast, especially our Gulf Park campus, and how can we strategically align ourselves to what's going on in the coastal community. And a few years ago, then Governor Bryant had tasked one of our scientists to lead this ocean task force to come up with a plan of what this blue economy would look like. And so we actually met with all the community leaders on the coast, not just USM. We went from Pascagoula, Moss Point, Biloxi, all the coast, all the community leaders, and got what their needs were, what they saw this blue economy, what the needs in the workforce were, and kind of met with them. And so the community leaders and the business leaders are all play a part in this whole role. And so if you're a leader and you have a stake in the game, then being a leader is number one.
I can't agree more. I can't agree more. And we have to tap into it every chance we get, because when we have people involved in the development of strategic directions, then they own the outcomes more importantly. And that's really important. So when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with Pam Moeller. And she's a One Coast recipient, One Coast Award, Leadership Award recipient. And we'll talk a little bit more about leadership attributes and some of our challenges. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to Coast Vue. We're continuing our series of having conversations with One Coast Leadership Award recipients. It's very inspiring for me. I hope it's inspiring for you. It's great to understand each of their angles, the work that they've done to do their reps in the community so they can have a better understanding of this place and find what role they want to play and find what significant leadership role they can play. And certainly that's one of the reasons why people like Pam Moeller, our guest now, was recognized with a One Coast Leadership Award. Pam, at the beginning of the conversation, at the beginning of the event, I had the opportunity to say a few words to challenge the group. And one of the things that I said was that in every community, not just ours, there's always going to be a serious gravity toward mediocrity. In other words, people tend to want to protect the status quo. And I think particularly here in coastal Mississippi, we have a hard time being honest about our vulnerabilities. I think we want everybody to get along. We don't want to say what's wrong. But in order to achieve success, we have to be very aware of both our strengths and our weaknesses and have conversations about those. But there is a need to sort of fight against this gravity toward the status quo. And every leader has a role to play in that, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I think, here on the coast, we're about to have or have been getting millions of dollars pushed into our economy because of the natural disasters that we've given. And I think, when it comes to this One Coast thing, working in silos has been not working beneficial. So I think coming together as all leaders coming together to work together to come up with this big impact, transformational change on the coast. We're very poised to do that. And, we're thankful for our coastal delegation for the state and in Washington too, to kind of help us do that. But you got to get involved. Each person, they can't sit on the sidelines and sit there and say, this isn't working if you're not having a say in what you're doing. So fortunately, the university has allowed me to expand my role and to get out there and meet with individuals and help get the word out about what's happening, not only at USM, but with other people that I meet as well. So I am a university rep and I love the university. But I also believe that, we've got to all work together.
Well, John Harrison often reminds us that in 1992, obviously casinos came and that was a game-changing, aspect to our economy. But nothing like that has happened since then. So that's why what Jerry St. Pé said, and that I shared as part of our challenge is that, our biggest enemy is complacency. It would be easy to sit back and say that Chevron and Ingalls and Stennis and the casino industry will always be here. And then we're just going to protect that. But, we should be, as you keep pointing out, we should be always focused on where's the next game-changing piece to our economy so we can diversify ourselves even more. But we have to fight against complacency, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes. And so, the university has taken this strategic plan. I wouldn't say a reorganization or anything, but over the past several years we have the research lab in Ocean Springs, we have a research vessels in Biloxi, we have the Port of Gulfport, who's a great partner with ours with we have the Marine Research Center, the Roger Wicker Center for Ocean Enterprise, we have Long Beach, and then we have our Marine Sciences out at Dennis. And for a long time, we were all working in silos. And so when this Ocean Task Force and we kind of strategically aligned ourselves to change the way that we think and educate over at Long Beach, and we're bringing in businesses. And so we've kind of pulled together the resources all together. And what an amazing thing that we've accomplished over these past couple of years. We've got NOAA's Office of Marine Aviation Operation moving here to Gulfport because of what USM is doing. And since we have that connection with NOAA, we're also bringing in other companies. We just brought in Ocean Aero with the help of Harrison County Economic Development, MDA, Mississippi Power. So it's not just USM, it's a connection of a lot of different people bringing in these companies. And yes, the main hub may be in Gulfport, but these companies that we're bringing in are bringing in new jobs. And it may not be 3,000 jobs, but it is 50 jobs here, 50 jobs here, 50 jobs here. So at the end of the day, you're going to have these jobs. And so what the university is doing strategically is changing our academic programs on the Gulf Park campus in Long Beach to kind of cater to the needs of our Gulf Coast and educate those degree type of programs to try to keep, the people that come to school in Mississippi to stay in Mississippi, and not minimum wage jobs, but mid to high level jobs. And we've learned over the past couple of years is working with industry and our community colleges, working, you can get a 2-year degree at Mississippi Gulf Coast or Pearl River and then come to USM and get a bachelor's degree. And we're changing the emphasis area where you can come get one in cybersecurity. We're working on aquaculture or uncrewed systems. And so, it's not just USM trying to build this blue economy. It's all working together with each city and each county. And I think that's important for every leader, is not just to think about your area as one, but how can you bring in more people together? Number one, you're going to get more money if you go out for grants. That's what we do. If you bring in more leaders and stuff. So I think it's very important to work together. And I think USM is leading that effort, especially in the blue economy. And I'm so proud to be a part of that.
Well, the idea around the blue economy is really a great example of how, each of the communities have their own sense of place. And, working regionally doesn't mean that we won't preserve that. We certainly will. But there are common issues that we all face. The blue economy is certainly one of those issues. And the way you describe that and the number of stakeholders that are involved, could that be one of the game changers for the future? I know this, that there's going to be a significant BP money investment from the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund in a major mixed-use development in downtown Gulfport that Stuart Speed is going to build. Roy Anderson at Endicor is going to build it. And it's going to be a game changer. And one of the reasons why they're doing that is because of what's happening down in the port. And all these things kind of work together. You think about the new economy, especially in light of the pandemic, people have an opportunity now to choose where they want to live because they can work remotely or at least quasi-remotely. And Gulfport's, as we all know, it's kind of this incredible gem as you come down 49. And you see all this economic and industrial activity and what the opportunities might be. It's going to be incredible. Hey, listen, we're getting a little short on time. I want to make sure we mention this, though. We don't have enough leaders to get it. That was the third challenge that we have. You've had the opportunity by all of these programs, not only working with USM, but also in the leadership programs that you've been in, to get to know so many people who do get it. And it makes a difference. It makes a difference when you're bringing people together to do these kind of multi-stakeholder efforts like the blue economy. It matters when everyone at the table sort of gets it. Yes. We need more people who get it, don't we?
Yes, we do. We do. We And, a lot of things are happening in Gulfport, and we have worked with the Gulfport Town Center and Anacorn and the Carters and all them, and we're early on in those stages. But you bring people to Gulfport, but it's not just Gulfport. You've got to think, we're training students in Long Beach, where they're living in Ocean Springs. They're going to school in Ocean Springs. They're living in Bay St. Louis and enjoying the coastal counties. And we've been fortunate at the university, and I'm sure you're aware of this, but we Secretary Raimondo came down with Senator Wicker and saw what we were doing in Gulfport, and she said, y'all have got, before even the grant announcement came out, and said, y'all got to apply for this. And we applied for an economic development grant, and we're one of 60 out of 570 applicants that won, only one in the state of Mississippi. And so with that, we brought in the Port of Gulfport, our SMPDD, Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, Pearl River Community College, Jackson State, so we're bringing from Hattiesburg down, we've got all these coalition members. And if I left you out, I apologize, but, bringing everybody together to work together to make this whole blue economy work, it's going to be a game changer, and it's going to put Mississippi on the map. And I'm lucky to be a part of that.
What a great example of collaboration. What a great example of bringing stakeholders in. Hey, what a great example it is of leadership, people willing to come to the table and really start a conversation from scratch, really, as a group of people to say strategically, where can we take coastal Mississippi? We're out of time, unfortunately, Pam, but it has been a pleasure to kind of, obviously give you a public recognition, to say congratulations to you for your award. We'll have you back on in the future just to talk about what's happening at Southern Miss, and you can help me start to reflect a little bit more on some of the leaders at Southern Miss and have some of them on the show. But congratulations. Thanks for serving as a wonderful example for others.
Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate the time and effort, and I'll give you my contact information if anybody wants to reach out with any questions to USM or me. So thank you.
You bet. This has been Pam Moeller, a One Coast recipient, and works for Southern Miss here on the coast. It's been a pleasure. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation. We'll see you after this.